Now, he's talking about his own company, but here's the report on the rest of the battalion as he figures stuff. And as usual, obviously I'm not reading the whole book, and I'm skipping through big chunks of combat situations. But at this point, he figures out what's going on with the battalion. Going back to the book, casualties in the battalion had not been light. 2 officers and 100 men had failed to arrive. Among them, the plane load which we had seen shot down. Another load had probably been dropped in the wrong place. Ian Hampshire was one of the missing officers. Rumor had it that he was dead. The other was the intelligence officer, whose job Jimmy Gray had now combined with his own. Jimmy could not explain the reason for the delay. No one seemed to know. And that's one of the parts that I didn't go over in the beginning of the book. As they're flying in, as they're seeing flak hit and explode around them, they see another one of their aircraft filled with their brothers go down. No shoots. Now they start getting some coherent input from the battalion, and here's what they figured out going back to the book. We would move as had already been planned in England. The leading company of the battalion, with Leslie Doyle's platoon, number 9 in the front, some 200 yards ahead, followed by company headquarters, then Luke Tyler's 8 platoon, then Douglas Thompson's 7 platoon at the back. As I had expected, the company was ready to move by the time orders had been given out. 2 minutes were all that was needed for the men to slide their entrenching tools into place, pick up their weapons, and sort themselves out. No one had removed his equipment. It was a lesson which the colonel had drummed into us. No man must ever remove his equipment when the enemy is anywhere near, no matter whether he was digging, sleeping, or defecating. Whatever time it may be, day or night, a soldier had only to reach for his weapon to be ready to fight or to march. Just once each day, 1 man in 3 at a time was allowed to strip so that he could wash and shave. And shave they must. The last man of 9 platoon was disappearing round the corner of the sandy track which ran parallel with the railway line to Arnhem when I noticed the colonel standing on the right next to the shell of a still smoking glider which partly blocked the battalion's path. So there was paratroopers that came in, but other people came in on gliders, just big gliders, no engine that would get towed by other planes. They're filled with men, and they would just land these gliders in big open fields. Gray was by the colonel's side, and behind them crouched a knot of radio operators and orderlies. It was the same as ever. The colonel's eyes were still, but he never missed anything. The unfastened pouch from which a grenade or Bren magazine could slip. The slack chin strap which would fail to hold a running man's steel helmet in place. Quietly, the colonel would indicate the error to whichever passing officer or NCO was responsible for the man. Nothing was ever ignored. Safely out of range, the offender would mumble about the nitpicking old bastard, but the abuse was usually perfunctory and good-natured. All of them knew his ways, and by now they had learned that his fads mattered. So, the colonel's running a tight ship. That's what he's doing. He's a highly disciplined guy, and he keeps his troops in check. And as you can see, they're not offended by that. Like they complain about it a little bit, but they also know it's the right thing to do.